Hey guys, Tatayu here. In this video, I'm bringing you an actual combat tutorial for Gunlance. Gunlance is a heavy weapon, but unlike its massive shield brother, Gunlance has gun in front of it, which basically means a huge part of your damage comes from firing. So your whole weapon strategy should revolve around how to fire at the right time, which firing option you should choose, and how to protect yourself in between. And that leads us to 3 core moves: Wide Sweep, Charge Shelling, and Perfect Guard. Alright, let's dive in. First, Wide Sweep. In most situations, you rely on Worm Stake Full Blast, Multi-Worm Stake Full Blast, and Worm Stake Cannon to deal damage. So if you want to play Gunlance well, you need to know how to get into Wide Sweep. There are several ways. The most basic way, of course, is through Lateral Thrust. After 2 consecutive Lateral Thrusts, you can go into Wide Sweep. Wide Sweep can follow Overhead Smash or Burst Fire. Burst Fire follows Overhead Smash, and Overhead Smash can follow Rising Slash, Perfect Guard, or Quick Reload. But as you can see, these routes are pretty slow. You need a lot of pre-inputs before you actually get into Wide Sweep. So of course, they're not always your best options. The better option here is Shelling or Charge Shelling. After either one, you can go directly into Wide Sweep, and most importantly, this version of Wide Sweep can travel a longer distance than your other Wide Sweeps. It can even change directions. You can go forward, left, or right. The only direction you can't go is backward. If you try to go backward, it'll just turn into a normal lateral thrust, so keep that in mind. Now that you know how to get into Wide Sweep fast and easy, let's talk about what you can do after it. After Wide Sweep, you can either go directly into Worm Stake Cannon, or you can go into Worm Stake Full Blast. Worm Stake Cannon deals decent damage and has fast recovery, so it's good for punishing small openings. Worm Stake Full Blast deals much heavier damage because it's basically Burst Fire plus Worm Stake Cannon. The combo takes longer than a single Worm Stake Cannon, but afterward you can do multi-Worm Stake Full Blast, which means another set of Full Blast. You can basically think of it as a Full Blast twice. So this is your heavy damage route, but it doesn't stop there. Multi-Worm Stake Full Blast also has 2 guard points during the animation. One is at the start, and one is after you poke your Worm Stake Cannon out. See the white flash on your shield? That is the guard point. But how do you actually use that? The timing sounds difficult, but honestly, it's not that bad. After the first Full Blast, you have about 3 seconds to do the second Full Blast. As long as you don't do any input in between, I know it doesn't look that way, but that window is right there. So after the first Full Blast, you can just observe the monster for a moment. If another single attack is coming, boom, do your multi-Worm Stake Full Blast and guard point that hit. Speaking of which, a lot of Gunlance combos have this kind of mechanic. You can delay your next move to fit the monster's timing. But remember, if the attack knocks you back even a little bit, the whole multi-Worm Stake Full Blast won't continue. It'll just become a normal block. So some guard skill is recommended if you like playing around this mechanic. The second guard point is mostly just for show or for happy accidents. Like when dealing with certain moves from Arc-Wield or for your daily hunt, it is not something you should rely on too much. And lastly, Wide Sweep after Shelling and Worm Stake Full Blast in focus mode can help you travel a pretty long distance. So sometimes, if the monster is too far away but you still have an opening, you can use Lunging Up Thrust. Lunging Up Thrust is basically Rising Slash with a forward step. Then you can do Shelling. Your Lunging Up Thrust will turn into Lunging Shelling. And then, in focus mode, hold forward, go into Wide Sweep, and then Worm Stake Full Blast. That's another function of Shelling. You can use Shelling to move in different directions. And combined with Wide Sweep, you can use this maneuver to sometimes evade the monster's attack and go directly into Worm Stake Full Blast pretty safely. Okay, now let's talk about the second core move, Charge Shelling. Charge Shelling is not here to deal damage per se, it's more of a cooldown tool. For Gunlance, your biggest damage comes from Wyvern's Fire, but it only has 2 shots and needs to cool down. The fastest way to cool it down is through Charge Shelling. Gunlance has 3 shelling types: Normal, Wide, and Long. Normal has the most shells for Burst Fire, Wide has the fewest, and Long, honestly just forget about Long. Normal can deal more damage with Burst Fire and Full Blast. Wide can deal more damage with Wyvern's Fire. But here's the catch. Normal has 7 shells if you have the low shell skill, while Wide only has 3. And the cooldown rate of Wyvern's Fire doesn't depend on the raw number of shells you charge. it depends on the percentage of your total shell count. The recovery time afterward works the same way. So the fewer shells you have, the less time you need to charge and the faster you can cool down Wyvern's Fire. So if you really like using Wyvern's Fire, then I suggest using White with level 3 focus. Enough about the mechanic, now let's talk about when to use it. Normally, when you get an opening, Overhead Smash into Burst Fire is obviously one of the best options. If you're completely out of Wyvern's Fire and need to cool it down, sometimes you can counter the monster with Charge Shotting instead of using your other moves. But at least try to keep one active shot in your stock so you don't have to do this too much during the hunt. By the way, the two shots of Wyvern's Fire are not the same. The one on the right has less recovery, so make sure you know which one you're using and expect the outcome accordingly. Last core move, Perfect Guard. Why is Guard a core move? Because with Gunlance, Perfect Guard connects everything. You can think of Gunlance as a Swiss Army knife with explosions. It has all kinds of tools to deal with different situations, whether the monster gives you a small window, a big window, what is completely on the ground, you have a specific tool for that situation. And most of these punish tools starts from Perfect Guard. Your normal block, your reload, and your quick reload all have Perfect Guard. But since reload can Perfect Guard and restock all your shells at the same time, ideally you want to use reload for Perfect Guard whenever you can. After Perfect Guard, you can go directly into Overhead Smash, Shelling, or Wyvern's Fire. Which one you choose depends on the monster's attack. If it has a small recovery, you can use Charge Shelling or go into Overhead Smash and Burst Fire. If you have a bigger window, you can do Shelling into White Sweep, go to Worm Stake Full Blast, and see what happens. If another attack is coming, you can also do Multi-Worm Stake Full Blast and use the guard point to block that attack. Afterward, if you still have enough time, or if the monster is down, then you can use Wyvern's Fire to get the full damage. It's basically all the stuff I mentioned in the first two sections, but now you're starting it from Perfect Guard. And remember, with Gunlance, unlike Lance, you're probably going to need some guard and guard up skills. After a power clash, you can do White Sweep, go into Worm Stake Full Blast, and continue the whole route. Or you can just shoot Wyvern's Fire all over his face. After Focus Strike, you can also go directly into Wyvern's Fire, or just do a simple Shelling into White Sweep startup. And that's about it for Gunlance. Remember your combos, remember your routine, and use them according to the opening. This weapon is no more complicated than Lance. It just has more explosions and more specific ways to punish the monster. This is taught to you. If you liked the video, hit that like button and subscribe. I'll bring you more in the future. Hope this video helps. Love you all.